is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, Bongbong Marcos Jr. trust rating continues to plummet, according to the latest Pulse Asia survey. On the other hand, Vice President Sara Duterte remains the most trusted public official in the country. What is the reason behind the decline of the stability of the ratings of the two officials? We'll delve into that later. Meanwhile, Vice President Sara Duterte clarifies her designated survivor remarks after announcing that she will not attend the upcoming State of the Nation address of Marcos Jr. According to Vice President, her words are neither a joke nor a threat. And the internal war in Sudan is bringing the country to the brink of famine. Food insecurity is plaguing the entire nation, reaching its worst level ever recorded in Sudan's history. I'm Deivid Lira. Newsline World starts now. First in the news, President Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s approval and trust ratings are declining further according to the latest Pulse Asia survey. Here's MJ Madahar with the report.
Of the mentioned officials, who do you trust the most and who are the untrustworthy? Pulse Asia released the results of their June 17 to 24th survey, which has more than 2,000 adult respondents nationwide. The survey, released a few days before Bongbong Marcos' third State of the Nation address or SONA, shows that the president's trust ratings have dropped to 52% from 57% in March.
Nilagay ka namin dyan, nilagay namin kayo dyan, kailangan baguhin nyo naman yung aming kalakaran sa buhay. Hindi yung lalong nyo kaming napapahirapan dahil hindi nyo tinutugunan.
Marcos Jr. also received the lowest trust rating from Mindanao residents, who gave him a failing grade of 35%, down from 38%. On the other hand, Visayas residents gave him a consistent 54% in the two consecutive surveys. Recently, there was a violent attack by the combined forces of the PNP SAF and CIDG on the religious compounds of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ or KOJC in Davao City and Sarangani Province. This occurred on June 10, 2024, a week before Pulse Asia conducted its nationwide survey.
Puro politika na sa isip nyo, pagpapalawig ng inyong mga termino. Paninira ang ginagawa ninyo, inaapi nyo. Inuusig nyo yung inyong mga kalaban. Yan ang dahilan kung bakit mababa ang kanilang mga rating.
The violent operation by armed authorities received massive backlash and scrutiny among Filipinos worldwide. The KOJC documented the harassment of armed authorities against church workers during the said operation. In the same survey, Vice President Sara Duterte emerges as the most trusted government official at 71%. She also received 71% in the March 2024 survey. 95% of Mindanao residents trust VP Sara in two consecutive turns. In contrast, Marcos Jr.'s cousin, Speaker Martin Romualdez, still lags in trust ratings with 31% and 35%. Marcos Jr. and Romualdez have previously been criticized for lacking concrete programs for Filipinos. Instead, they focus on distributing aid alongside holding concerts in various parts of the Philippines. Meanwhile, the Marcos Jr. administration received a failing grade in foreign policy. Tensions in the South China Sea intensified during his term due to his over-alliance with the Americans. According to foreign relations scholar Sasrogando Sasot, Marcos Jr. dismantled the friends to all, enemies to none foreign policy of his predecessor, former President Rodrigo Duterte, a foreign policy that Marcos Jr. had promised to continue during his campaign.
Well, foreign policy-wise, I will give the Bongbong administration a failing grade. Super failing grade.
Due to the excessive alignment with the Americans, China and Russia, two nuclear superpowers are now conducting joint naval drills in the South China Sea. Russian President Vladimir Putin previously threatened to resume the production of nuclear weapons after the US used the Philippines and Denmark as storage for nuclear warheads. According to Sasot, if the Philippines is obliterated by war, the public will have no one to blame but Marcos Jr.
Nakikita natin yung epekto ng kanyang foreign policy right now. Hindi tayo mapakali. Hindi ba? Siya na rin na nagsabi, the Philippines is now in the front lines like in World War II. Sinabi niya yan sa speech niya sa Australia.
For Ganwable of Philippines, MJ Mondeha, SMNI News.
Not a joke. This is according to Vice President Sara Duterte regarding her early statement of being a designated survivor of the current administration. This decision is related to her choice not to attend the upcoming third State of the Nation address by Bongbong Marcos. Jason Rubrico reports.
2 days before resigning as Secretary of the Department of Education, Vice President Sara Duterte led the national kickoff of National Brigada Eskwela at Carmen National High School in Cebu. Here, Vice President Duterte again granted an interview to the media to address some important issues. The Vice President shared that they will meet briefly with incoming Education Secretary Sani Angara on Thursday and will conduct the official turnover ceremony. Prior to this, Angara had already held turnover meetings with other DepEd officials. Vice President Sara Duterte mentioned that she did not give specific instructions to the new secretary because in her view, he has been in government for a long time.
Wala man na kibalo ko nga si Senator Angara, he's been in government for the longest time, longer than me. So kibalo siya kung unsa ang ato ang kinahanglan, kibalo siya kung unsa atong kinahanglan buhaton to improve the quality of education in our country.
Related to the 5 higher-ranking DepEd officials who submitted their resignations, VP Sara said she first told them to stay at DepEd so that the agency's operations would not be affected.
Please stay until the new secretary will remove you because otherwise, kung manghawa tanan, mapiangan ang Department of Education. It will be detrimental to the department. So, giingnan ako sila, please stay until the new secretary will decide nga tanggalon mo. So, di na pa mo manghawa.
However, some DepEd officials have already decided to resign from their posts.
Ang uban, nag-ingon sila nga dili na gid sila magpadayon sa Department of Education. 2 will proceed to retirement, 1 move to the office of the Vice President, and then 1 we will discuss kung unsa ang amo ang arrangements, amo ang working arrangements, and then the other 1 wala pa mi nagka-istorya.
When asked what she will miss about DepEd, Vice President Sara responded,
Mamimiss ko ang camaraderie ng Department of Education dahil yung mga teaching and non-teaching personnel natin kung saan man ako mapunta, hindi man sa loob ng paaralan, lagi silang pleasant, friendly sa akin. Kung saan man ako sa bansa pumunta, they will always say na kami ay tiga Department of Education and lagi din ako nagpapasalamat sa kanilang serbisyo sa bayan. Pangalawa, yung intent naming lahat na pagsilbihan ng ating kabataan. Lagi ko rin sinasabi sa kanila na nagpapasalamat ako sa kanilang serbisyo sa ating bayan at pagtulong sa ating mga kabataan.
Meanwhile, the Vice President addressed the questions of some legislators regarding her statement that she would not attend the third State of the Nation address of President Bongbong Marcos Jr. and appointed herself as the designated survivor.
Dili to siya joke. Dili po to siya bomb threat. I think many missed the point. So, para sa ako, wala ka kasabot the first time, I don't think you deserve an explanation.
For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubrico, SMNI News.
Several IP leaders in Talainghood want ACT Teachers Party List Representative Castro removed from office. Ina Mortel reports.
The guilty verdict of Tagum RTC Branch 2 against ACT Teachers Representative Castro in the child abuse case provides sufficient grounds for her removal from office, according to the NTF-ELCAC Legal Cooperation Cluster. This is also the call of several IP leaders in Talainghood, Davao del Norte. According to Dato Andigao Agay, Municipal Indigenous People Mandatory Representative in Talainghood, Davao del Norte, Castro should be removed from office because she brings nothing good to the government.
Dapat gid natanggalan sa Congress kay mo man ang makatag sa gobyerno nga dili maayo.
Castro was found guilty of child abuse of violating Republic Act 7610 or the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. Along with Castro, the guilty verdict includes former Bayan Muna Representative Sator Ocampo and 11 other individuals. This is related to the incident in 2018 when their group was caught transporting 14 minors from Talaingo, Davao del Norte. The court previously had dismissed the defense that their actions were part of their educational mission and that the recruitment of indigenous youth was a part of it. Castro and Ocampo will serve almost 5 years in prison. However, according to Dato Andingal, this is not enough.
Kami mga tribal leader, sugot tayo nga paprisugyod dili nga buyan pa antod sa kaantoran sa kamatayon niya. Dito ra mamatay sa kulungan.
Meanwhile, in their joint statement, they said they would appeal the child abuse verdict after the Supreme Court. According to Bayi Pilar Libayao, the tribal chieftain in Talaingon, if Castro is ultimately removed from Congress, it would be a good thing to prevent troublemakers in their ancestral domain.
Mas maayo. Kay aron wa na magsinamok diri sa bukid, ma'am. Lisod kayo nang naisamok ba? Kay di na makapanginabuhi ang mga tao nako. Labi na kay mga pobre, di siyempre maning kamot sila panginabuhi. Lisod man kayo nga dito na tamusalig sa gobyerno.
It can be remembered that the leftist groups in Congress, ACT Teachers, Gabriela Women's Party, and Kabataan Party List are urban operatives of the communist terrorist group CPP, NPA, NDF, according to its former cadres and members. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Ina Mortal, SMNA News.
Stay tuned for more news. The Prime Minister of Thailand ordered probe behind the mysterious death of 6 foreigners inside a luxury hotel in Bangkok early this week. Police officers suspected it could be a case of murder-suicide. Chatmongon Pisamagozon reports.
Thai police engaged in an intensive investigation after 6 Vietnamese nationals who checked in at a hotel in central Bangkok were found dead in their rooms earlier this week. The 6 foreigners were last seen entering a suite on the 5th floor of the 5-star Grand Hyatt Erawan in the Thai capital earlier this week. 2 of the victims hold American citizenship, while 4 others were Vietnamese nationals. The hotel staff made the gruesome discovery on Tuesday when they entered the suite after the guests missed checkout by more than 24 hours. When police arrived, they found the lifeless bodies of the 3 men and 3 women without signs of struggle. They also found a table full of untouched food and cups laced with white powder, which police later identified as traces of cyanide, one of the world's most lethal poisons that can kill in a few minutes to a few hours when consumed. Police believe one of the 6 guests poisoned the others and killed herself afterward. It was considered a murder-suicide case that stemmed from a dispute over huge debts. The FBI is also involved in the investigation since 2 of the victims hold U.S. citizenship. The Prime Minister ordered a swift investigation to avoid any damage to the country's thriving tourism sector. Reporting from Thailand, I'm Shadmong Kumpisamay Koson, your Global Citizens correspondent for SMN News Channel.
The United Arab Emirates joined several countries in the Middle East and North Africa region in expressing serious concerns on the worsening humanitarian and food crisis in Sudan. Ratu Omori reports.
A joint statement issued by more than a dozen Arab and African nations, including the UAE, warned of the food insecurity in Sudan, which reached its worst levels not witnessed in the country's history. The struggle for control and power between the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces erupted into a civil war that started on April 15, 2023. 15 months later, the violent clashes and fighting led to 14,000 people getting killed and 33,000 others injured. The war also created the world's largest displacement crisis, with more than 11 million people forced to flee their homes and 25.6 million others without access to sufficient food or to meet their basic needs. Meanwhile, more than a dozen countries from the Middle East and North Africa or MENA region warned about the continuing crisis and risk of famine in Sudan. The report, titled Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, expressed serious concern for the safety and well-being of civilians, including several thousand children suffering severe malnutrition. Among the Arab and African nations that took part in the joint statement were the UAE, Jordan, Morocco, Mauritania, Chad, Seychelles, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Uganda, Mozambique, and Nigeria, among others. The warring parties have sent their respective delegates to represent them in the recent ceasefire talks in Geneva, Switzerland, as mediators undergo fragile negotiations to end the deadly conflict. The World Health Organization also warned that about 800,000 people remained trapped in the Sudanese city of El Fasher in the North Darfur region as fighting entered its 15th month. Reporting from Dubai, I'm Gratero Omorio, Global Citizen Correspondent for SMNA News Channel.
An Argentine professional football player involved in homophobic and racist chants during the Copa America final received disciplinary actions, while FIFA launched an independent probe following series of complaints over the incident. Federico Veloso for the report.
England's Premier League club Chelsea enforced disciplinary action towards its midfielder Enzo Fernandez, who was involved in racist chants along with other Argentinian players. A video of Fernandez and other Argentinian players making chants about French players with African heritage after the Copa America final was described as racist and discriminatory. The players made the racist chants after Argentina beat Colombia 1-0 on Sunday. It was the same song made by some Argentina fans during the 2022 World Cup final when Argentina beat France. FIFA condemned the racist slur and opened an investigation following a complaint from the French Football Federation. Chelsea also responded by instigating an internal disciplinary procedure against Fernandez. The midfielder shared a lengthy post on his social media account to apologize for his actions. He maintained his stance against discrimination, but admitted he made a mistake after he got caught up in the euphoria during the national team celebrations. One of his Chelsea teammates has already condemned the post. This has been Federico Veloso, your Global Citizen Correspondent for SMNA News.
Caracas ruled Satur Ocampo and friends Castro guilty of child abuse for the indigenous community of Talaingo, Davao del Norte. Justice will be active against the CPP, NPA, NDF once Ocampo and Castro are in prison. Hannah Jansancho for the details.
Nearly 6 years have passed since authorities caught former Bayan Muna Representative Satur Ocampo and ACT Teachers Party's Representative Franz Castro transporting minor indigenous people from Salubungan School in Talaingo, Davao del Norte to Maco, Davao Oriental. While tribal leaders consider this a win, they believe that total victory will not be certain until the accused pay for their crimes against the indigenous people. Talaingo Tribal Chieftain Bay Pilar Libaya recalled the events of November 28, 2018, which led to the conviction of Satur Ocampo, Franz Castro, and other accused for child abuse under Republic Act 7610, or the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act.
Makita man ninyo sa video, ma'am, kay nagalis mi kang Satur Ocampo dahil sa police station. Silang duha. Akong ginanganong panguan man mo akong mga tao. ibahukan ka na akong mga tao nagdala siyang pari, dala siyang pastor, subidas bukid. Yung kung sa may tuyok ninyo bukid.
The communist terrorist group CPP, NPA, NDF penetrated the indigenous people's community in Talaingod by establishing the Salugpungan School due to the lack of educational facilities in their area. The tribal chieftain pointed out that due to the lack of education among the indigenous youth and their parents, they were duped by Ocampo and Castro's group to go with them. The plan was to take the indigenous children from Talaingod to Haran in Cebu. But what was the real motive?
Kanang dito na sila sa Haran, ug asa ang rally dito dadon. May istorya man mga batang mga mag-uli diri. Kung sa may trabaho ninyo dito, ay wala, mag-uban-uban lang ni asa ang rally.
Thus, the decision of the Regional Trial Court Branch 2 in Tagum City, Davao del Norte is a welcome development for the indigenous community of Talaingod. To recall, the court ruled Ocampo, Castro, and 11 others guilty beyond reasonable doubt for violating Section 10A, Article 6 of Republic Act 7610, which carries a penalty of 4 to 6 years imprisonment.
Ang panawakan na nako, ma'am, sa gobyerno nga inauto na ako nga tabangan kami ang mga lumad nga ipadayong gid ipakulong si Ocampo hanggang nga kamatayong gid niya. Apil na si Castro. Kaya sila man nagkauban ay.
The armed forces of the Philippines believe that improving the lives of the indigenous community is not solely the responsibility of the government. Thus, they are open to cooperation with private sectors.
As much as possible, gusto sana nating matupad yung mga pangako natin sa mga kapatid natin na bumaba. And hindi pa natin na-deliver lahat. Yung ating mga pangako is mga school buildings, farm-to-market roads, electrification projects, rural water system, clinics sa mga looban. And that is why we are asking for help. Hindi lamang sa ating mga government officials, mga private sector na baka meron silang maitulong.
The indigenous community in Talaingod wants nothing more than to improve their lives and provide proper education for their future generations. Each of them hopes to see teachers, doctors, engineers, lawyers, and other professionals emerging from their community. They vow to strive not to be deceived again by the communist terrorist groups who only aim to keep them ignorant and use them for their propaganda. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. Do not let your mind rule you. You have to rule your mind. And that's all for this edition. For more updates, you may visit smninewschannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Maganing Country, I'm Deivid Lira, and this is Newsline World.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification bell to keep you up to date. Also visit our official social media accounts and join our community on Viber and Telegram.